Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Warzone, especially as of late, this year really has made some concerning decisions when it comes to how players are able to play the game. The forefront of this discussion is the playlists and the modes they've offered throughout the year, because I don't think in really any recent year of Warzone it's been as controversial, as polarizing as it's been this year. And season 3 doubles down, triples down on them making some very concerning decisions as to what players can play the game through. A big thing this year has been squad size availability, not always having the option to play solos, duos, trios, and quads, but then also the modes themselves. And with season 3, we obviously have new playlist updates. There's some new content featured in some of the playlists, and the playlist update to start the season has been revealed. We've had this since the patch notes dropped. One thing that I think is a bit interesting that they've stopped doing actually is before, dating back to Warzone and previous integrations and in previous years, we'd get a playlist update for the first half of the season. So we'd get the week 1 playlist, the week 2 playlist, the week 3 playlist. We don't even get those specifics anymore. We get one playlist preview and we don't know how long it's gonna last. It might be 1 week, it might be 2 weeks. They might randomly change it for one weekend LTM, but then leave everything else the same. The communication there has been severely lacking for the past little bit. And with season 3 here, like I said, they're doubling down, they're tripling down on concerning decisions that really limit how players are able to experience this game. And a lot of times it blocks them from playing the game in their most ideal way. For instance, Black Ops Royale, the mode that they're trying to push the most right now, it's the hot new thing, it's the biggest update for this year, still only able to be played in solos and quads, and the solos balancing is still under full testing. The solos is basically a beta version of the mode itself, as they've said, but no duos, no trios there. So if you're just a duo, you have to play with squad fill, which usually is a headache just because you're really not often getting great random teammates. There's not much communication, the in-game mics, that whole system, everyone's chat banned, it's not great. Or you're playing 2 versus 4 because you're not squad filling. If you're playing with trios, you're still at a disadvantage there. You got to scramble to find an extra player. It's just awkward, it's not ideal. If you want to play just normal battle royale, at least for the first bit of the season, it's only quads. So if you're a solos player, good luck. You don't get that option unless you're 1v4ing. Same deal with duos and trios. No option there for normal battle royale. In Resurgence, they've got solos, duos, and quads, so at least there's a little more options here. But ever since we've had ranked play, trios has basically been non-existent in public matches. So if you have a 3 friend group, oh, good luck. If it's you and 2 other buddies, you have to play at a disadvantage, or somebody's got to get kicked so you can go play duos, and the odd one out can go play solos, right? It's awkward there. Ranked play, obviously, still with trios. Battle Royale casual. So if you wanted to straight up play casual, you're not a fan of the skill-based matchmaking or open matchmaking that's in normal Black Ops Royale or Battle Royale, again, just quads. So if you're a solo looking to play casual, you have to squad fill or you're playing 1-on-4, which is easier to do in casual if you're a decent player, but still probably not ideal. And then Resurgence casual, just quads. Oh, and then we also have the new launch squad LTM, which is just on the launch pad point of interest on Verdansk, and that's also only quads. Now, I get why quads is the favored mode for all of this, because it's going to offer the most amount of players to play in any potential squad. But not everyone is going to want to fill up with a quad or has 3 other friends to always join up with, which leads to the options being plenty. They used to be so worried. I remember the devs specifically saying this to us back in Vanguard. They said, we don't want mode salad where you have 4 or 5 or 6 different modes to choose from on the main menu, because that's going to split the player base up too much. It just makes for awkward queue times. It's too much, it's overwhelming. And now we've got a whole bunch of different playlists, and they don't allow squad sizes because of that, because seemingly it is mode salad at its peak basically here. And it is frustrating and awkward for anyone that's basically not playing with a guaranteed quad every single time they jump on the game. COD Unity posted, I think, a really good tweet exemplifying how concerning this issue is and how frustrating this issue is for players. Initially saying, wait, this has to be a joke. I see that Black Ops Royale and Battle Royale aren't even getting all squad sizes with season 3. Duos and trios only in Resurgence and not in the other modes. And then quotes this with the exact ways to play. And this is ultimately a problem with the game. There are too many modes available. Squad sizes presumably solos, duos, trios, and quads can't happen for every single mode because they've got so many available that if they did that, it would be really, really hard maybe for players to find a Resurgence duos match late at night, or a Battle Royale trios match early in the morning. Like, the load times, the queue times, filling a full lobby with real players outside of casual could be really rough if they have all these modes and then like all the squad sizes. So they're creating the problem here by having so much mode availability, which just leads to players largely being unhappy and being driven off the game. I've seen countless comments on Twitter, on the YouTube comments, of people saying, yeah, there's still no duos on Battle Royale. All right, guess my buddy and I just aren't gonna play yet. The community says, you gotta find a way to like merge Battle Royale and Black Ops Royale, get rid of one, rotate them. I don't know, just give us solos, duos, trios, and quads at all time. The only way to play trios is via ranked play, which is not for everyone. Absolutely. Only having trios via ranks for the vast majority of the year, I think, is a huge miss. The only way to play duos is via Resurgence, which maybe is the worst mode for duos. I also agree with this sentiment. I don't mind playing duos, but duos Resurgence matches in specific, they end instantly. Like, it's just kind of an awkward squad size for Resurgence because you wipe squads so easily in duos. The lobbies just don't really stay up all the time. The only way to play the upcoming Verdansk and Battle Royale upgrades is via quads. So you're either squad filling, which is frustrating, playing at a distinct disadvantage, which is frustrating, or you have to find 3 buddies to play with, and not everyone has that available at all times. This is not the way to keep the game thriving, and I would agree with this sentiment here. It just creates a very awkward, a very frustrating situation where players don't have options. They consistently say, we want to give all players, or as many players as possible, the best experience on the game, but so many players' experiences aren't even available. The ideal experiences and what they want to play aren't available because the modes, the playlists have been so messy for the last little while, and especially here in Season 3. Going back to the concern of when you do offer multiple squad sizes for every single mode, it's going to become harder and harder to fill. The thing here is that if the game was in a better state, it appealed to a larger audience, things were more balanced, the game had a better sentiment, which it doesn't have those things because of the route that Call of Duty has taken. I don't think it's necessarily the fault of like individual developers specifically. I think it's largely just the direction of the franchise as a whole. The back-to-back games, like playing Warzone very safe, a lot has led to COD having a very stagnant, of sort of plateaued year. But like looking at the Steam chart here, again, just 5% of the player base. Like, this is not a huge indication of the total amount of players. What is, I think, slightly indicative though, the larger situation is that like Black Ops Royale, for example, I just said the biggest update of the year for Warzone. Like, that was the hot new thing for this year. This dropped in mid-March, and the game didn't really see a massive resurgence in players, no pun intended, a massive spike in players. 56, almost 57,000 players on the weekend of Black Ops Royale premiering. Not that much more than the weekend prior or the weekend before that. And in fact, the weekends prior to that were peaking even higher. And so the hot new thing, the biggest update for the year, didn't necessarily send a huge wave of players to the game, at least on Steam. And what we can say, while it's not representative of the total player base, it can be representative of certain trends here and there, which has proven to be accurate. Not getting a huge spike in players like we did when Verdansk came back even is going to make matters even worse for offering all these new modes. They got a brand new one, like clearly they're going to support it, they're going to push it because it's hot and it's new and it's fresh, but if it's also not appealing to a major new audience or bringing in or bringing back a ton of players, well, then you've got now another mode adding to the mix of why we can't have duos and trios and quads elsewhere and solos always available, and it just muddies the water even further. So Warzone has to combat this in some capacity. This probably wouldn't be as big of an issue if the game was holding, you know, on one specific platform, on Steam, for example, 100 to 150,000 players, and the game had, instead of hundreds of thousands of players a day across multiplayer, zombies, endgame, and Warzone, it had, you know, 1 million plus players a day because the game was in a better state. It was more, you know, community driven, and players felt their time and their money was respected a bit more within the franchise itself. If COD was in a better state, this probably wouldn't be the situation at hand. but they've now dug a hole for themselves and they're continuing to dig it deeper and deeper and branch off into tunnels that aren't going anywhere, for lack of better analogy here, with how they're currently presenting Warzone and giving us options to actually play specific modes. So it's a mess. I don't really know what their full answer is to fix this, quite frankly. I really think it's dependent on bringing Warzone back to a place where there is more players on it. The sentiment is better, even though I think largely the Warzone gameplay this year is solid. It's balanced. They definitely missed on a lot as a whole, as a franchise this year. So something's got to change. Maybe it comes with Modern Warfare 4 and that Warzone integration, and this year's just kind of what it is. Time will tell, but it's alarming that they keep doubling down and tripling down on these decisions when there's so much pushback from the community every single time they talk about playlists. That being said, that is going to wrap things up for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, you want to get more attention on this subject, do me a favor, drop a like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can always guarantee you are in the know for everything going on in Call of Duty. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.